Welcome back. We covered some important material yesterday, and while there was a lot of information there, it's important that you don't overcomplicate it. Basically, we are in a tough business with some real challenges, but none of them are insurmountable if you're prepared to take a new hands-on approach. Most photographers still view stock photography as a passive business, where you sit and wait for your photo buyers to find your library. So any photographer who's prepared to go proactive and take their work to buyers instead is going to be light years ahead of the masses. And the best way of getting found that way is to dominate the search engines for each of your key subjects. And as we showed you yesterday, that's quite achievable when you publish high-quality, relevant content in a format that makes it easy for the search engines to assess and rank it well. It really is that simple. We are each in very specialised niches, so there really is no need for high-tech, expensive SEO services. Just some basic structure, a little common sense, and a real client-centric attitude is all you need. Well, today we're going to look at the other half of the equation, the external factors that Google takes into account when assessing your web page. This is referred to as off-page SEO. These are basically the third-party references Google checks when trying to assess the quality and content of your pages. Backlinking is probably the one of these that most people are familiar with. For a long time, Google looked at links to your web page as a vote that the content was good. If the link text also used that keyword phrase, then it was an added vote that the content was relevant to the phrase. So we'd spend a lot of time submitting to link directories, search engines, and finding similar websites we could swap links with. For us, it was mostly about generating traffic and brand awareness, as we didn't realise how much weight Google was giving these links. Eventually, people started to notice that the sites with the most backlinks were also topping the search results, and everything got turned upside down. The top priority was SEO, and the only consideration was the number of links you could accumulate. The truth is, we all went a little crazy building as many links as we could to try and boost our page rank. We published articles to hundreds of directories, we posted comments on other people's blogs, we joined every relevant forum we could find, we joined blog networks that would syndicate our posts across dozens of other connected sites. And unfortunately, for everyone who was publishing useful content in appropriate locations, there were 100 more posting absolute rubbish anywhere they could, simply to build quick backlinks. Eventually, Google caught on and adjusted its formula accordingly. These days, it's all about quality links. Masses of irrelevant or spammy backlinks are more likely to get you penalised than help your ranking. These days, Google tells us outright not to build links specifically to improve page rank, and any links you pay for or swap are considered breaking the rules and can be penalised. Even straight link swaps, something the World Wide Web was built on, are considered bad these days. Despite that, there's still a massive underground industry out there trying its best to find new loopholes to exploit for as long as it can. Eventually, Google always plugs these holes, but until they do, there's money to be made selling it as the next big thing, so the spam links keep on coming. And that's a big part of the reason why Google has started coming down so hard on mass backlinking. It's like they created this link spam monster, and now they're trying to get it back into its cage. So the word of warning here is don't be tempted by big promises or big numbers. Our strategy actually targets quite low competition keywords anyway, so you simply don't need to risk a Google penalty to rank. We can rank our pages extremely well without breaking the rules. We do use backlinks, but we take a very different approach to them these days. We do generate a fair number of links with our approach, but our emphasis is on bringing in targeted visitor traffic, something we can only do with high-quality, relevant content. We create these quality content pages that people might want to link to, and we encourage our visitors to link back to us and share our content at every opportunity. And as photographers, we also ask for a backlink to the library image every time we make a sale. If you're not already doing that, you really should make that a habit now. As a result, our pages do rank extremely well and usually quite quickly, and this is because Google and the like are far more interested in rewarding quality content than punishing suspect behaviour patterns. When you're dealing with a company the size of Google, though, it doesn't hurt to be a bit careful, so we always layer our linking a bit, just in case the rules change, and something we're doing now is frowned upon later on. We link to our main content with a small number of links from quality sites such as Facebook, YouTube, and our blogs. We then link to those intermediate pages with the bulk of our backlinks to make a second layer. And then we use our RSS feeds to further promote that. It's called a link pyramid, and it's very effective at feeding link juice and targeted visitor traffic towards our target photo subject pages, all while being less likely to ever be penalised by Google. We'll show you how to do that shortly, but first there are a few other off-site factors that we need to consider. Google gives a lot more respect to an old domain. If a domain has been in use by the same person for a number of years, chances are it's a legitimate and quality website. In fact, Google will often ignore brand new domains until they've done their time in the sandbox. When we set up our global iLibrary, for example, it took over 6 months before Google showed much interest in us at all. And then overnight, we suddenly had 80,000 pages in the index and dozens of page one rankings. It was like someone turned on a tap of visitor traffic. We'd actually done all our SEO work months before that, but it wasn't worth anything until Google decided to let us out of the sandbox. Branding is increasingly important these days. This can be your own name or a business name, but either way, you need to decide on it and then get it out there and stick with it. So you really want to start using your brand name on your website, in your domains, for all your social media accounts, and in links back to your website. Where we used to focus on using keywords and domain names and backlinks, these days it's much better to focus on brand names. So as an example, John Citizen Photography is all you need, as long as your name is somewhat unique. If there's a few photographers sharing the same name, it might be worth adding a keyword or location. Again, if you go with an established photography portal or stock library, you can piggyback on their branding to a certain extent while you develop your own. You can create a lot of your own brand recognition just with some regular blogging and putting out press releases a few times a year. Social connections. There's increasing belief in the SEO industry that Google now looks to see if you're socially connected and how many people you're connected to. Facebook and Twitter are the obvious ones to start with, and it makes sense to set yourself up on Google's own social network, Google+. But a presence on its own is not enough. You have to develop a following on any services you use, so that means publishing interesting and valuable content on a regular basis. That can be a lot of work if you're going to do it properly, but can also be quite simple if you work smart. So don't panic, we'll show you how to do that later. Google looks for mentions to see that sites that are talking about you are related to you. It's one thing to have lots of mentions all around the web, and you can do a lot of those yourself, but what Google's looking to see is that the sites that you are being talked about on are relevant to your topic and good quality sites. So it really doesn't matter how much information you write about yourself on your own sites if no one else is backing that up. So this is where it pays to have a well-established brand name that people can and do refer to, and a strong social following that you interact with on a regular basis. You can supplement this by using your own brand name without a link in some of the content you publish around the web. Subscribers is a funny one. The jury's still out, but there are two things you need to consider here. Google Analytics is the web statistics package of choice for the vast majority of webmasters, and Gmail is one of the largest free webmail solutions. So one way or another, Google is going to have a lot of data on where your visitors are coming from and how many are clicking through from links and emails. Given Google's growing interest in social indicators, it's not unreasonable to expect that this kind of information will be a ranking factor at some stage, if it isn't already. Return traffic is another one Google looks at very closely. Google Chrome is fast becoming one of the most popular browsers, so there's no question Google knows how often people come back to your pages. The equation is simple. If people keep coming back, Google's going to rate your content as more valuable. And this is another reason it pays to have a presence on a photography portal site or a stock library. If you have a buyer who comes to you once a year for an image or two, that's great, but it really won't register with Google. If that same buyer returns a couple of times a month to a photo library, though, then it really can make an impact. Visit duration is partly an on-page factor, but a lot of it depends on how targeted your visitor traffic is and where you're bringing your visitors from. If your links are low quality, your traffic will be too, and visitors will leave your website almost as soon as they get there. That's what's called a high bounce rate, and Google lowers your ranking accordingly. It's also part of the reason we use text description at the top of our photo subject pages, so visitors might at least start reading and take a few extra seconds to realise if it's not what they want. It's also why we use thumbnails only. You only have a few short seconds for most visitors to decide whether to stay or not on your page, so it makes sense to show them a selection of images as quickly as possible in the hope that something catches their eye and keeps them from clicking that back button. There are a couple of on-page factors that we didn't really cover yesterday that are worth a quick mention here. Contact details are very important. Any legitimate business is usually going to add their name, street addresses, phone numbers, or even an email address to a contact details page. You'll rarely find these details on spam pages, so make sure you add them. A privacy policy is also important. Google insists on it if you wish to participate in many of their other programs, so it's generally agreed there should be a link to your own privacy policy on every page you want to rank. So when we do all this and we start publishing a lot of these specialty pages and they all start to rank well, you can achieve what we call authority status. As you add more and more pages that rank well for specific subjects, Google starts to see the common themes among them, and you also start to rank well for the broader phrases. As you rank for more and more of the broader phrases, you gain authority status in that general field, and eventually you'll rank well for a lot more terms than those you specifically targeted. Depending on the depth of your content, you may even rank well for some very broad category phrases. Either way, the overall benefit is much larger than the sum of the parts. As an example, if we go back to my original example of Macquarie Island penguin photos, let's say I repeat the process with individual pages for each of the 4 penguin species in my collection. Then if I expand it to include a page each for the 4 species of albatross and a group page for the albatrosses, and I'd have about 10 pages that should all rank very well for every one of those specific subjects. And because they're all pointing towards my main website page where I list my interest in all Antarctic wildlife photography, there's a very good chance I could start to rank well for that based purely on the authority created by the association of those other pages. Taking a step further, let's say I share my photography on a portal with a few other bird photographers who all create similar pages for their own interests. The end result could be hundreds and hundreds of high-ranking pages for specialised bird photography, which in turn can give the website serious authority status for something as broad as bird stock photography. Now that's the big picture stuff, and probably getting ahead of ourselves a bit, but sometimes it helps to know where you're headed. For now, we want to concentrate on getting your page listed well so you get some targeted traffic from it, and to do that we use a fairly simple 4-step process. First, we blog about your new content. Ideally, you'll have a couple of blogs you use, and you'll post a slightly different message on each. You can use your page description as a starting point and then rewrite it slightly. I'd suggest you post it to one blog as an announcement and to the other as a kind of catalogued listing. This then lets you publish twice for 2 distinct audiences, increasing your exposure and links without creating any duplicate content concerns. The next step is to microblog about your new content. That means making a short post to Google, Facebook, Twitter or LinkedIn, generally linking to both the blog post and the photo subject page. How you structure this part will be up to you, and it will depend on how involved you plan on being with the various social media accounts. If you have 1 or 2 that you use all the time, you should treat them as a blog and link to your new content from there. Then just link to those social media sites from the others. The real power step here is to bookmark those microblog posts in a variety of social media accounts. Most photographers and website owners in general will all use Facebook or LinkedIn or something, but they won't take it any further. When you start to bookmark your micro posts, you take it all to a whole new level. You can use a browser add-on to make this easy. Just add something like add this to your browser. Then as you write each post, just bookmark it in 5 or 6 social media accounts. Again, you want to mix it up, use different accounts each time and write your bookmark text slightly differently to catch the attention of anyone who might have a genuine interest in your work. The final step is to gather up all your RSS feeds for each of these services, your blogs, microblogs and each of your social bookmarking accounts, and submit those to some RSS directories. The good news is you only have to collect them all once. Once you've got the list, there's plenty of sites that will let you submit these one at a time to a long list or all at once to a short list. You only need to do this every couple of months or so I'd suggest you take your time and do the long list, at least the first time. A final step is to ping all those feeds to the various search engines. Again, this is a simple process and there's a link to a mass ping service below. This simply notifies the major search engine that there's new content to be indexed at the link you submit. You can do this anytime you have new content you want to get indexed fast, but I wouldn't overdo it. If you're just starting on this process, maybe ping your first few submissions, but make a point of skipping a few here and there and let Google find them on its own. Good news is if you're publishing new material regularly, Google will soon learn to come back and check anyway, so after this initial push, once or twice a year is plenty enough for the pinging. The end result of all this is our layered pyramid structure we showed you before. It generates some good reach and exposure across the internet and it focuses some good link juice back to your photo subject page. These days I have this process fully automated, so I spend very little time on it, but even when I used to do it manually, it rarely took more than an hour to write 3 or 4 variations of the blog post and share each of those on my main social media accounts and then bookmark those shares in 5 or 6 places. We've been using the same broadcast method for quite a few years now on several of our websites, and the actual traffic coming through these listings is amazing, as is the speed at which new content gets listed. In fact, we usually see direct visitor traffic arriving almost immediately, and usually long before Google's even had a chance to list the new pages, proving that you can get targeted traffic from your social media accounts if you use them the right way. Of course, when Google does list the new photo content page, all the extra backlinks and bookmarks definitely help us rank even better for our target phrases. If this all looks a bit complicated or time-consuming, you can relax. With a little bit of setup, you can make most of this happen automatically using a great service called Links Alpha. Links Alpha takes any RSS feed you like and publishes it to any number of blogs, microblogs and social media sites. It's all fully automated. You just publish your updates to 1 or 2 blogs and Links Alpha does the rest. The actual structure and setup will be different for everyone, but we'll add a link to a short demo video with this and you can check it out yourself if you're interested. The beauty of that is that you can set this up once and then every time you publish a new photo subject page, you simply write a short blog post to announce it and another to catalogue it, and then everything else happens automatically. That's fine for most of your content, but when you get to one of your key subjects or a specialty that you really want to rank well for, or one that seems to be getting a lot of traffic, these are the pages you really want to dominate the results for and can be worth doing a couple of extra steps. The first of these is video marketing. In short, you take the best 12 to 15 photos from your web page, use a service like Animoto to drop them into a video slideshow, you submit that to YouTube along with a link back to your main photo subject page. Here's a quick demo we made for our photographers showing just how easy it is. I'm going to create a video and I'll just pick a template, try the water one for this, create video. It's just a matter of selecting some photos. Normally I use about 12 to 15 photos for a one minute video, so that's about 14. That's enough for now. We'll open those, let those load. Once they're loaded, you can mix them up a bit, rearrange them. It's all very much drag and drop, quite simple. Once you've got them in the order you want, you can add some text slides. The most important one is the final slide, which will tell people where you'd like them to go if they're watching this on Animoto. And that'll probably do me for now. You can put a few more in if you like. Move that up towards the top somewhere. Normally put 2 or 3 text slides in, 12 to 15 photos. We'll select a music track. This one I've tried before. Once you've done that, once you've selected a style, a music track and some pictures, added some text frames, ready to preview the video. While that's rendering, you can add your title and description. And so I've got a keyword title, I've got the description in there again with the link. This is low res, so not very high quality at this stage, but once you've got your information in, you can click produce, and Animoto will render it in the background, and they'll send you an email when it's ready, so you don't need to sit here and wait for this. You can go off and do other things. And you can see that's ready. That's about a minute for the video. It's just low res, 300 pixels. Ain't nothing better than watching you smile. So you can see it's quite basic, quite simple, but this is all you need for video marketing. We're going to now post this to YouTube and share it on Facebook. It'll help your web page, your Lightbox page, get indexed quickly. So we go to export video, you can export to YouTube, and you'll see that's in progress, and they'll send you an email when that's done. When you get the email, we'll log in there and add some info to YouTube. Animoto does offer a free account, but for $30 a year, you can make longer videos, and I think you can also use their royalty-free music. So that's really a bargain, and you're sure to get some good value from it. If you want to ramp it up, you can submit your videos to multiple sharing sites using service like OneLoad, or you can even find someone on Fiverr.com who'll submit to 40-plus video sharing sites for $5. The other power step is article marketing. For a long time, this was a powerful tool where you could submit an article to dozens or even hundreds of sites, and each one would give you a couple of backlinks, and the better directories would send you some useful targeted traffic. Of course, it was only just a matter of time until people started to push the boundaries. Google eventually caught on, and the infamous Panda update put paid to that as an option for creating bulk backlinks for PageRank. So article marketing still works extremely well, and I've got live examples of this I'll share with you tomorrow, but the focus should always be on quality. Quality original articles posted on high-quality article directory websites with the intention of attracting quality targeted traffic. Because we don't want to duplicate our content, we focus entirely on the best article directory site now, and that's eZine Articles. We write original content and publish it there with a link back to our preferred page. We use the article to mention our brand occasionally, and we use the author's resource box to link to other pages. And we publish our eZine Articles feed through some of our other social media accounts as well to leverage that a little bit further as well. Here's a short demo we did for our photographers on how to write and publish an article with eZine Articles. Another very good way to get your photo page ranking well is article marketing. I realise a lot of photographers aren't keen on the writing, and that's fine, but for those who are prepared to do a bit of writing, a short 400 or 500 word article is a great way to promote your web page. Something like this, I just usually start with a search in Google of whatever the subject is and then facts, and you'll normally find a heap of websites, fact sheets, just bits and pieces you can use to create your own short article. Most of these articles don't have to be long, they don't have to be over the top, it's just putting a little bit of information out there so you can link that back to your web page that you want to promote. So these are the ones I normally look for, just the short point form facts that I can take and turn into a piece of written text. So I grabbed that information, I used the description from my lightboxes and galleries as a starting point, added a few more facts and fleshed that out to that's seven paragraphs, that's about 400 words. So that's ready to go, and I'm going to use a site called eZine Articles. I'll just copy that. And one little trick when you're doing these submissions that's worth knowing is just any time you're doing stuff like this, just copy it from the word processor into a text file first. That removes any formatting, the word processor formatting that can mess up the web forms. I'm going to go to my eZine Articles. eZine Articles ranks quite well. It's a page rank 8 website, so one link from eZine Articles is worth as much as submitting to 100 low quality backlink sites. So I'm going to submit a new article. First I'll just put the body in while I've got it. The last one and the important one is your resource box. Your resource box is the trade-off for providing the content. You had the article, you had some interesting information and reading to the website, and in return they let you put a link on here. And the other thing is with these eZine Articles, people can syndicate your article. You give them permission to publish it as long as they include this resource box at the end. So this can actually get you some additional links back to your site. Main one is to connect it, put in the full link. You're allowed to. I've included one to YouTube as well. So that's adding a bit more juice to the YouTube video, which links back to the Lightbox, and it's also adding a link to the Lightbox. So I'll save that, and you'll find as a free member it'll take you a couple of days sometimes for the article to get checked and approved, but that's okay. It's worth the wait. These are very high quality backlinks. So I'm going to copy that link I'll copy that, and once I get notification that the article's been published, I'll put that through the ping service that I showed you earlier. I'll close that. That's article marketing. Very well worth the effort. As you'll see, you get some facts, put together something. It doesn't have to be long. 400 or 500 words is heap. So that's article marketing. You can try that with your next Lightbox and see what sort of impact it makes. If you're really not a writer, you can get some good quality articles written quite quickly for a very low price using a variety of services online. I used My Article Express quite a bit in the past, and I found their content to be exceptional, usually for around $10. When you consider that $10 can deliver targeted buyer traffic to your web pages for many, many years to come, it's a pretty good investment to at least consider for your key subjects. Whatever you do not be tempted to mass submit your articles. That's a total waste of time and money these days, no matter what the sales pitch might say. There are just too many trash article directories out there, and every listing on those reduces the value you get from your quality directories and could get you penalised. So those two strategies are really quite simple, and as you'll see tomorrow, they're incredibly effective. Of course, you're not limited to this though. Our approach to marketing photography is based on publishing interesting and relevant content to direct targeted traffic and link juice back to your photo subject pages. The following content formats all work well, and you can add them to your routine permanently or as one-off promos for specific content. It's up to you. Press releases are very useful as long as they have interesting, newsworthy content to publish. Press releases would be about the only content that I'd mass submit these days, and you can find plenty of gigs that will do that for you on Fiverr. Another option is to package your photos and captions up as a short PDF ebook or catalogue and publish that to various ebook directories. Taking that a step further, you could include your article or a couple of articles and have it formatted for Kindle as a photo ebook. And again, you'll find people on Fiverr who'll do the formatting for you for $5 if you struggle with that. You can then add it to the Amazon bookstore, and you might sell a few copies here and there, but you'll also have a very high page rank link back to your photo subject page. If you're technically minded, you might even turn your ebook into a small iPhone app that you can list on iTunes, and do the same thing to create an Android app you can list on Google Play. Both are very high page rank sites and expose you to good traffic and generate some extra link juice. Infographics have been quite big for a while, though the options for free submissions are disappearing fast. If you have suitable content, you might find it good to make an interesting or informative graphic and publish that to some of the directories. There are still places out there to submit, so just do a search for infographic directories and see what you come up with. Software is another good content publishing option for photographers, in particular screensavers. With the right software, you can easily create a screensaver for each new photo set you publish and then submit that to various software directories. That's just a few ideas, but essentially your imagination is the only limit. Just look for new and interesting formats for your content and then work out ways to publish that to generate targeted visitor traffic and quality backlinks. Okay, tomorrow we're going to put it all together. I've got a live demo we recorded where we published a photo content page to this formula, ran it through the basic promo steps, and then published an article and a video. We then kept checking back with Google to see what was happening, and the results will absolutely blow you away. If you're anything like the other photographers we've shown this to so far, you better clear some time on your schedule because you're going to want to be putting this to work straight away. We've also got one final strategy step to share with you that takes everything we've shown you to a whole new level. It takes about an hour to set up properly, but after that it's more or less hands-free and can make your competition, including the free and cheap photo sites and the mega libraries, it can make those all but invisible. You'll need to see it to believe it, so watch out for tomorrow's email. Okay, I'll leave it there for now. There are some downloads and links below that you might want to check out. Don't forget to post your comments and questions below. We're looking at doing a live Q&A session to cover some of the questions we've been getting, so let us know what you want to hear more about and we'll see if we can do something with that. Okay, talk to you tomorrow.